Hopefully we've used the molar masses from the periodic chart enough that when I write them down, you'll recognize they are the numbers that go with the elements. If you're not sure though, you should always have a periodic chart handy when you're working anything involving conversions. So this is where we're starting, and this is what we need to find. That's the unit that doesn't have a number with it. So grams of CO2, also note that I'm going from CO2 to CO2. And I'm starting with the only thing with the number, 15.0 mole of CO2. And then I'm going to go from mole CO2. So I just drop that unit down. Now that mole, you can go different places with it, but it wants me to go to grams. And I can always go from moles to grams. You can go from moles to molecules. You can go from one mole to another mole of something also. But this one, it wants us to go into grams. So I'm going to have to calculate the molar mass. For carbon, it's 12.01 grams per mole, and oxygen is 16.00 times 2 grams per mole, so that's 32.00 plus the 12.01, so that gives me 44.01 grams per mole. So 44.01, and then I'm going to bring my calculator over, 15.0 times 44.01, and that gives me 660.15. Notice that I have 1, 2, 3 sig figs, 1, 2, 3 sig figs. So, and this does not round up, so the answer is 660. But look, that doesn't have 3 sig figs. That's actually part of the problem in thinking this through. That doesn't have 3 sig figs right now. That has 2, because the 0 doesn't have a decimal. So I would either write it like this. That's not the best form. Better would be to write it like this. So see how that's the same number? I would never round this to 66, because 66 is not at all the same thing as 660, right? $66 aren't the same as $660. So be careful about trying that. So this is how we put this and give it 3 sig figs. My moles of CO2 canceled out, and I'm left with grams of CO2.